Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War with me, Bring It Dawn. The quote of the day is the same as it was like 2 episodes ago. Carry the Emperor's will as your torch. With it, destroy the shadows. I'm not a big fan of repeated quotes, but it is the Emperor's will, so let's jump on into
The Orkz
Mission
have
5.
been repelled, and the war boss has been defeated. But this war is far from over. The Orkz still threaten to overcome several major population centers, and could mass more than a large enough force to overwhelm the Imperial armies present on the planet. We have bought time, nothing more. But this is no longer a primary concern. Our scouts have recovered evidence that the forces of chaos, the great enemy, may be operating on this planet, right under our very noses. We must face this foe wherever they stand. If there is even a chance that they are here, we must seek them out and destroy them. Inquisitor Toth is demanding that we leave the planet, but of all the powers his position grants him, commandeering a space marine company is not one of them. I must admit that I find his presence unwelcome so soon after the events on my homeworld of Cyrene. Inquisitors have a way of inflaming a guilty conscience, and that I do not need right now.
Alright, as you can see, the Orc threat is growing. But they're just looking for a good fight. You can't blame them. They're probably the purest race in the Warhammer universe. You could argue that the Tau are, but then you have the ethereal caste that are kind of sketchy. The Orcs are pure. They just want to fight. That's why they were one of my favorite races. They're about as good guy as it gets in the Warhammer universe. Look to the top left, in case you missed it. There's a ranger up there.
This warp storm could trap us here for a month or for a century. We cannot risk staying here. We must evacuate Tartarus before it arrives in 3 days' time.
The Imperial Guard and Holy Fleet can attend to the evacuation. The Blood Ravens have more pressing matters to contend with.
Such as?
I believe agents of chaos have taken strong root here.
I sense no taint here. Even so, were there a chaos presence on Tartarus, it is better we leave them here with the Orcs than waste more lives fighting them. We could wish no worse fate for either of our enemies, and to be trapped with the other. But we must leave here now.
That is a matter for my brothers and I to decide. We will use these 3 days to settle our affairs and satisfy our suspicions. Meanwhile, you have our transports to facilitate evacuation.
Colonel Brom, the captain and I must attend to matters of faith. If you would leave us, please.
But surely this involves me as a...
Forgive me for not being clear on the matter. I said please, when in fact I meant now.
Poor
This
Colonel
does
Brom.
involve him. You should have shown him a modicum of respect.
Captain, you uncovered extensive heresy on your home world. Cyrene, was it?
That has nothing to do with the events here on Tartarus.
But I believe they do. You requested the Inquisition undertake an exterminatus, the destruction of your planet's entire populace, which we obliged.
I still fail to see...
Captain, I am not questioning your loyalty, but I must wonder if your actions on Cyrene have not affected your judgment. Perhaps that was a poor choice of words. I merely fear that you might see chaos, but it does not exist. I ask that as a loyal subject of the Emperor, you serve the Imperium's interest before your own agenda.
Captain, that Inquisitor had no right to speak to you in such manner. But perhaps he is right. The coming storm will trap our enemies here, where they can consume one another.
And what if the forces of chaos escape the system before the storm? No. We will not use this freak occurrence as an excuse to avoid our enemies, or our responsibility. They are here for a reason, and we will discover that reason.
We are with you, brother Captain.
As always.
The humans are coming your way in full force. You should hear their heavy feet long before you see them, and smell them long before that.
Space Marines are supposed to have a unique smell to them. Almost like machine-like, I think.
Orbital Command has indicated the dropship landed in this general proximity. We've discovered a path, Captain. It's obvious someone has been digging here.
Cut by Orkz?
I've never seen an Orc lend such a careful hand to a task.
If it wasn't Orkz, then it must be the forces of chaos.
No, no, no. Eldar always appear before chaos does. That's how Warhammer campaigns work. Space Marines
We will
arrive to
follow this path and discover the truth behind what has transpired here.
Yeah, so almost every Warhammer campaign works the same way. Orcs, or Space Marines arrive to fight off the Orc threat.
The sacred artifact will now be available to us. Construct it, and we will have access to powerful abilities.
And then, obviously the Orcs will be manipulated by some other force, probably the,
Scouts ready. Commencing infiltration.
Faith is our shield.
sometimes the Eldar, sometimes Chaos.
What is it you
It varies.
desire?
Also, we have all of our commanders.
This day shall be a glorious
Also, something
one
else,
for the Imperium.
where's it at? You see these service studs on his head?
Beware the
Typically,
alien,
now it does,
the
that
mutant.
does change, but usually that indicates centuries of service. So he's been in service for 200 years, or he's been a Space Marine for 200 years. Now I have read some places that it can denote decades. I feel like
What would
that's
you
not
have
the
me
case
do?
because then they'd have a whole forehead full of service studs because Space Marines live for a long time.
Yes, Lord.
But I guess you never know. How many
Yes,
generators?
most beneficent one. With all due
Roger,
haste.
Roger.
We stand ready.
I will send
How can
Colonel
I
Brahm
serve?
up with these guys. Well, hold on,
On
these
my
are the
way.
flamers, right?
What is your order?
The Emperor
26.
protects.
I am ready to
Walk
pass
softly
judgment.
and carry a big gun.
Okay, he has
For the
more health,
Emperor.
probably better.
Taking
This unit.
command.
I am ready to pass
I
judgment.
await your instructions.
I am prepared.
He who stands with me shall be my brother. Agreed.
And then some supposedly, yeah, some chapters their service studs denote different
Orcs,
services.
Attack! By my command. Attack!
Or different lengths of service.
Marine squad deployed. Faith is our shield. Weapons at ready.
Wait.
It is time.
They weren't attacking.
I am
They were
prepared.
fleeing. What could
By
you say
order
of
of the
fear in an
Inquisition,
orc?
I am taking command here.
Also, this whole time I thought that I didn't realize my map was sticking out like this due to the resolution that I'm using. That's why I can't click on these outside parts because they're not part of the map. All right, so here, probably get some get accuracy,
Yes, Lord.
and let's see.
I shall obey.
Yeah, screw it. We'll do it that
Here
way.
to serve. As you wish.
Yes. We think alike.
There's something else I was gonna say. I don't remember what it was though.
I will
While
crush
the enemies of the
enemy
Emperor
beneath my
still draw
boot.
breath, there can be no peace.
Scouts awaiting
While
orders.
the enemies of the Emperor still draw breath,
I
there
am
can be no
prepared.
peace.
What was I gonna say? There's something about. See, I brought up the service studs. There's something else. Gosh darn it! Probably another lore thing I was gonna bring up. I don't remember what it was.
I await your instructions. I exist to serve.
Position
With
secure.
all due haste.
At your command.
This day
Marine
shall be a
squad deployed.
glorious one for the Imperium. For the glory of the Emperor. Something is not right here. For the glory These Orc of the Emperor do not
Scouts
look
here.
like they were dispatched by Imperial hands. We must proceed with
We
caution.
stand ready. Maintain attack formation.
Venerate the immortal Emperor.
Yes, my lord.
I can sense the enemy. They are close.
We're gonna have to take it slow here. We don't have a lot of resources to work with right now.
Here to serve.
What is it you desire?
Now we could go. I think we should go this way next instead of this way.
He who
Let's
stands
circle
with
back.
me shall be my brother. Walk softly and carry a big gun. For the Emperor. The Emperor protects.
Darn it, what was I gonna say? It's gonna bug the crap out of me. So there was the server studs I brought up, but there's something else in the cutscene I
Beware
was
the
thinking about.
alien, the mutant, the heretic. Follow my lead.
Maybe it was just the
know no
campaigns and how
fear.
they usually laid out so like Space Marines arrive to stop an Orc threat,
Faith and duty. Me do.
and the Eldar introduced, and then
Follow my
the Chaos
lead.
are introduced, usually in that order.
Scouts in position.
That could have been all I was gonna say though. No, maybe it is.
I await your instructions.
Well, anyway,
Praise the
so
Emperor.
I'm not afraid to admit
We are united.
I'm not
in
playing
his
these
service.
missions optimally. If you take it a little bit slower, you can actually receive many less losses.
Position
I await your
secure.
But I like
instructions.
the large battles, so I just build up all my forces and just charge in. But you can definitely take it a little slower and play
Initializing
There is
build
no such
protocol.
thing
more
as
strategically.
innocence, only degrees of guilt. Do
Take
I
less
detect
losses and
uncertainty in your purpose?
things like that. Like you can scout with your skull probes and use artillery or use hit and run tactics. There are more strategies you can use than what I'm doing. I just like having a big charge because it's the most Warhammer strategy I can think of.
Yes, most
Alright,
beneficent
build more of these
one.
yet? Not yet.
Yes, most beneficent one.
We're getting there
Yes,
though.
Lord.
Alright, we'll probably keep pushing forward with this this group.
Hope is the first step on the road to disappointment. I can sense the enemy.
Capture one more requisition
They are
point, and then we'll
close.
build up a little bit.
I shall never tire. At once. At once.
Actually, I'm
I
gonna change
serve.
one thing real quick.
Duty calls me elsewhere.
I am prepared.
I'm gonna put the Inquisitor in with the Flamers.
By order of the Inquisition, I
While
am
the
taking
enemies of the
command
Emperor
here.
still draw breath, there can be no peace.
I serve. Through discipline, we prevail.
Eldar.
Perhaps we were mistaken about the presence of the forces of chaos.
Be it Eldar or Chaos.
At once.
I will have answers either way.
Feel my
Press on.
wrath.
Charge!
I shall never tire. With courage and honor. I serve.
Scouts awaiting orders.
I am ready to pass
I stand
judgment.
ready.
For the Emperor.
So the Eldar are one of the oldest races in the galaxy as it currently stands. Their race is responsible for the creation of one of the
Yes,
four Chaos
Lord.
Gods, the Chaos God Slanesh, because they become extremely
As you wish.
bored, I guess, and the more bored they got, because the Empire was so successful. The Empire was the largest one in the galaxy. And they were so successful, they had built
Here to serve.
automatons to do all their work for them.
Initializing
They became
code
complacent,
protocol.
and then they kept
Taking
pursuing.
damage. Fall back and regroup.
Defending objective.
Run, Servitor, run! Gosh darn it. It's alright. They should be able to take that. So where the heck did they come from? They run past me back here? I don't think they should have been able to.
I await your instructions. With all
Yeah, anyway, they're
What is it you desire?
they kept pursuing more decadent. No,
I
what's it?
await your instructions.
Basically, they couldn't satisfy themselves because they kept getting more and more. I'm trying to think of a good word to describe it. There's a lot of words, but I want to use
I
a good one.
await your
Marine squad
instructions.
deployed.
Initializing
At
code
your command.
protocol.
Weapons at
How
ready.
can I serve?
It is
This
time.
way.
Faith is our shield.
Yes. The Emperor
Yes.
protects.
Come on, scroll back up here.
Yes.
So I keep
Lord.
getting distracted.
Build routine
Oh, what am I doing? Get back over here.
initiated.
Finish building that.
What is your will? Here to serve. As you wish.
I'm all over the place right now. We'll have him repair that, and then he'll come down here and build another listening post.
Here to serve. I will do as you ask. Here to serve.
Taking damage.
How can I serve? Attack, men! Attack!
Fire in the hole.
Here to serve.
What is it you desire?
Yes, most beneficent one. Yes, Lord. With all due
Yes,
haste.
my lord.
Alright, you need one more scout squadron so it's even. Also, the last episode I think I brought up I could only get up to 17 vehicle population. That's because I can't upgrade to my fortress monastery. I can go stronghold monastery, but the
I
fortress
await
monastery
your
upgrade is still
instructions.
blocked for me.
I await your instructions.
Alright, last Space Marine squad, and then I'm gonna focus on getting my monastery upgraded.
Here to serve.
Yes.
There's no cover here, is there? Nope.
On my way. Hope is the first step on the road to disappointment.
What would you have me do?
Marine squad deployed.
Yeah, I'm primarily gonna focus on plasma guns this time around.
Cleanse. Purge.
Because the problem with the heavy bolters is because they have such longer range than the base weapons of the
What's your
Space
order?
Marines.
Scouts reporting for duty.
By the time they're usually firing, the regular bolters aren't firing at the same time, so the DPS of your squad is reduced. The plasma guns share a very similar range to the base bolters of the squad, so when they're in range to fire those, they're usually in range to fire all of their
Scouts
weapons.
ready.
So they have more DPS,
At your command.
which is what you want.
Scouts advance. At your command.
But anyway, the Eldar's
Here to
empire decaying
As
due
you
to
wish.
complacency.
I exist.
So they kept
to
pursuing
serve.
more and more. I can't think of the word. Deeper, darker desires. And they're a very psychic race. They're very attached to the warp. And because of that,
Here to
as their
serve.
desires became more and more dark, more
I
extreme,
await your instructions.
that emotional wave they created the Chaos God Slanesh, which is the Chaos God of pleasure, lust, desire, gluttony. really anything you can think of when it comes to like no self-control.
Yes,
And that's actually
Lord.
why the Eye of Terror exists, because that was the birthplace of Slaanesh. And what Slaanesh did was actually go around and destroy and or eat all the other Eldar gods, the Eldar pantheon, except for was it Chiagorak? I think is how you pronounce it. The Laughing God. He shattered Cain, the Avatar of War, or the God of War. Sorry, the avatars or something else will run across here soon. And is it Ivrain? Or Isha? Isha. Isha is the god of like healing, which Nurgle has captive, which is another one of the four chaos gods, the god of pestilence and decay and stagnation. Alright, so it doesn't look like they're going to attack here again. We're just going to push forward.
The Emperor protects.
We should be okay to do so. Let's go and upgrade that.
Yes, Lord.
We'll get the servitory back in the safety of the base.
I shall obey. I shall obey.
Venerate the immortal Emperor. Through discipline, we prevail. Mind over matter. At once, I can sense the enemy. They are close. I serve. Do I detect uncertainty in your purpose?
Dark Reapers, fall back. We need Rhino transport tanks. They will allow us to get through unscathed and attack the Dark Reapers on those cliffs above.
You don't actually need to do that. You can just attack him right here.
With courage and honor.
Rhino transports are now available. Build them at the machine cult.
Venerate the immortal Emperor. An open mind is like a fortress with its gates unbarred and unguarded. Hope is the first step on the road to disappointment.
Alright, let's go and get our
Scouts
upgrades
awaiting
then.
orders.
How can I serve?
Fear denies faith.
Fear not the Psycho.
Actually, with Dark Reapers, we'll be fine with plasma guns.
Knowledge
All
is
right.
power. Hide it well.
What does this do?
Hope is the first step
It's like
on the
attack that
road
crushes
to
the spirit of enemy
disappointment.
squad. Oh, that's right. It destroys their morale. Alright, let's build a machine
Yes,
cult. Sorry, I'm trying to talk about the lore as well, but I keep getting distracted because I'm in the middle of playing the game.
As you wish.
But if you have any questions regarding Warhammer lore, feel free to ask it in the
I
comment
exist
section.
to serve.
Again, I'm pretty familiar with most of it. There might be some things that I
Yes,
disagree with
Lord.
other people on, because I do think that Warhammer is one of those franchises where really anything can go. Some people very much disagree with that mindset. And again, it wants me to build Rhino transports. We don't have to. It might save us a little bit of hassle.
Knowledge is power. Hide it well. I
It's
shall
definitely not
never
required.
tire. Through the destruction of our enemies do we earn our salvation. Through the destruction of our enemies do we earn our salvation. Feel my wrath.
I should build some missile launchers. I haven't done that.
None can stand before us. I serve. Feel my wrath. Fear not the sight. Through discipline, we prevail.
Yes, my lord. On patrol. Strategic point identified. Scouts advance. We will move ahead and mark any enemy positions. Scouts advance.
And also now the Eldar are split into two different sects. You have the well, I guess three different sects. You have the well, maybe it's four different sects because you have the pirates, and you have the Exodites, which are basically Eldar hippies, and that's a very generalized term for those guys. Then you have the Craft World Eldar, which live on the giant spaceships called Craft Worlds, like the size of continents at least. I think some of them vary in size.
Yes, my lord.
None can stand.
Scouts awaiting orders.
We stand ready.
Defending objectives.
Marine squad deployed.
Scouts in position.
At your command. Moving out.
Let's get some missile launchers going. I'm not going to bother with the Rhino transports. Don't really see a reason to.
I am ready to pass judgment. I am ready to pass judgment.
Yeah, sorry, I know that I'm struggling to talk and play at the same time. Which really shouldn't be the case for an RTS, but...
Awaiting orders. Marine squad at your command. At your command.
Alright. Another missile
Orders
launcher
received.
squad.
Fear our wrath.
Get some more accuracy in here. More upgrades.
Yes, most beneficent one.
We're going to get this upgrade as well. We're a little low on requisition, so...
None can stand before the Inquisition.
Scouts awaiting orders.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much lore. So whenever I'm trying to think of lore to discuss, it's like, which lore do I talk about? Because there is a ton of Warhammer lore. Most of it's pretty on the nose. I mean, look at the naming schemes for a lot of the really anything. Think of like the Space Wolves. It's not really the most creative name in the world. They're Vikings in space. Oh, let's call them the Space Wolves. The Ultramarines. They're the best Marines. Call them the Ultramarines. Well, there are some neat references though, like the Primarch of the Raven Guard. His name is Corvus Corax, which means Raven. His whole chapter is a reference to Edgar Allan Poe, and his last known words before flying into the Eye of Terror was nevermore. So yeah, take that for what you will.
We stand ready. Moving out. Direct us to the enemy.
Though, actually, the Dark Angel's Primarch, Lionel Johnson, is a much more subtle reference, because only a lot of people have read his work. Lionel Johnson actually wrote the poem Dark Angel, I believe. Alright, let's get some Dreadnoughts.
Here to serve.
We'll probably just keep pushing forward here.
Fear not the
Also,
sight.
we probably win with the force that we have, but I like having more. I will go back and go push this way.
Purge. Kill. Orders received. Maintain attack formation.
So I do typically prefer the first Dawn of
Stay
War
vigilant, brothers.
over the
Under fire.
over Dawn of War 2. But for like they're completely different games. I think Dawn of War 2 is better for competitive play because you're typically controlling smaller units, and it's a little faster paced. Where this one is more, it's just a better casual game. Because usually I think what you want to do is take your time, build up a large army, because you have larger armies in this game than you can in
Attacking as ordered. Weapons at ready.
in Dawn of War 2.
Understood. Understood.
Fear not, son.
Attacking as ordered.
Which makes for more epic, more fun battles.
We will crush the enemies of the Imperium. Orders received. For the glory of the Imperium. None shall stop us. Understood.
Yes, my lord.
Heresy grows from idleness.
Alright, this is a dead end, if I believe. Yep, if I remember correctly. Okay, we have a dreadnought. We can send up to. There are my
Here to
servitors.
serve.
We're here. Throw this
Initializing
down
build
for me.
protocol.
Power fist.
Command me.
Yeah, and I almost always get the assault cannons in the campaigns because, or in the campaign missions, because sometimes they get trapped behind all my other units, so they can still get that
secure.
that sweet DPS in from behind the rest of my units.
Marine squad deployed. Stay vigilant, brothers.
We do that in a plasma gun. I might just do a heavy bolter.
I have a woman in death I still serve.
It's the Hellfire Dreadnought. No melee capability, but he has 2 ranged weapons. He has the autocannon, which you have to upgrade the other dreadnoughts to get. He also has a missile launcher, so he's good against vehicles and the like. Yeah, now we're sitting pretty comfortably. Next, I'm going to send one of these guys over here
Lord.
to the
I will
listening
do
post.
as you ask.
What is it you desire? I will see that it
Ever
happens.
vigilant.
My knowledge is at your disposal.
Yeah, that's why
Stay vigilant, brothers. I have awoken.
if you have any questions, I want you to ask him, because
Orders received.
it's hard to remember everything while I'm playing. All the important parts. Plus, the important parts are left up to like
Back to war.
everybody's own interpretation.
I will crush those who stand before me. Command me. I have awoken. I am the instrument of his will.
Oh, whoops. There we go. Got plenty of dreadnoughts on the way. All right, we can go ahead and keep pushing forward.
I am ready to serve again.
Let's go.
Fear our wrath. Weapons at ready. It is time.
Like I can go. So much to talk about. Every race is just so much
Maintain
lore.
attack formation. Stay vigilant, brothers. Weapons at ready. Under fire.
Okay, the Eldar are essentially space elves. They've got the same elf mentality that's usually shown in a lot of fantasy. They live for a long time. They're usually kind of cocky. They consider all the other races like inferior or
Crush the enemies of the Imperium.
unintelligent.
Orders received. We will crush the enemies of the Imperium.
Oh, is it a flamer? Oh, never mind, that's a melee dreadnought. I was like, no, this should be a missile launcher and a autocannon. So these are Howling Banshees. They're the melee specialists. So the Eldar, to control their emotions so that they don't birth another Chaos God, the Craft World Eldar anyway set up this system of paths. So basically they pick a path, whether it's like a poet or a warrior. I don't know what the other paths are actually called.
Faith is eternal. I will be there soon.
But essentially it's like,
Faith is our shield.
think liberal arts, sciences, soldier, things like that,
Here to
so that they
serve.
don't.
Yes, Lord.
So then they focus on that one path and they don't branch
Yes,
out. They don't
Lord.
get bored or whatever the
Even in
cause
death
of them,
I still
you know, wanting
serve.
to do dirtier and dirtier stuff is.
To me, my brothers, faith is eternal.
But yeah, they also split off into. Alright, so I said the Exodites, which are basically the hippies, they ride dinosaurs. The Exodites do. They live on the maiden worlds of the Eldar. So the Eldar have these maiden worlds, which are like essentially paradises.
I have awoken.
Defending objective. Scouts ready. On patrol.
And they're they're the dinosaur riders of the Warhammer universe. Then you have the Craftworld Eldar, which live on the continent or even
At
larger
last, back to
sized
war.
spaceships. And then you have the
Here to serve.
Dark Eldar,
I will do as you
which
ask.
are the
Even in death I
still depraved.
serve.
They still practice
word.
what the old Eldar did.
Take me into battle.
It's hard to go into detail how depraved
his
they are,
word.
but they do a lot of really messed up stuff. They are slavers. They raid
I have awoken.
planets and steal their populace for their fighting pits, for experimentation.
It is better to die for the Emperor than live for yourself.
They do a lot of like cloning and stuff, like some really dark depraved things. They do a lot of like genetic modification. They wear people's skin. They're really good at torturing people. It's talk about it all day. They do a lot of messed up stuff. And they still live. They actually live in the warp, but they live in the city called Komora, which is in the Webway. And the Webway is a series of like tunnels, or I guess in quote roads that traverse through the Webway, or sorry, through the warp, made by the Eldar. I think the old ones taught them how to make it, and so they can navigate the warp without having to interact with demons or chaos in any capacity. Well, Komora is basically like this huge port inside the Webway, and that's where the Dark Eldar live. And unlike the Eldar, the Dark Eldar do not practice any psychic abilities, because that is what attracts She Who Thirsts, which is the other name, which is what the Eldar named for Slaanesh, because Slaanesh eats Eldar souls. When Eldars die, Slaanesh eats their soul. But every Eldar race has a way to contend with that. The Dark Eldar, they basically have multiple clones of themselves. So when they die, they come back as a clone. They also don't practice any sort of psychic ability. The Craftworld Eldar use Spirit Stones, and their soul goes into the Spirit Stone. Now, if that Spirit Stone gets destroyed, they immediately get eaten by Slaanesh. Slaanesh is sitting there waiting for Eldar to die so she can eat their souls. Yeah, I don't really care for the Eldar. I mean, some of it's cool, but they kind of follow the same arc over and over again. I think it's kind of boring. I guess Space Marines do too. If you ever read a book and there's a Space Marine in it, 95% chance that Space Marine is going to come out on top, because Space Marines are the most popular armies and models that Games Workshop sells. So they want to make sure that they stay cool, so they keep winning.
Command me.
Yeah, I don't know, there's so much lore. I'm trying to,
is eternal.
my mind's racing through it all. I want to talk about it, but it's just so much to talk about. Anyway, when this guy gets up here, we'll go ahead and push forward and wrap this mission up. And grab whatever upgrades I don't have yet.
Command me. Take me into battle. At last, back to war.
You know what? No, I'm not going to upgrade all these guys with
To me,
autocannons.
my brothers, even in death I still serve.
Also, the Orkz were created by the same race as the Eldar. They're both created for the same purpose. And that was to fight the Necrons, or the Necrontyr. But I'll probably talk more about that in the next expansion, Winter Assault, because that's where the...
Even in death I still serve.
That's where the Necrons make their debut in the Dawn of War series. So, but yeah, the Eldar have a long history with the Necrons. The Orkz not so much, because the Orkz just want to fight. They don't really care who they fight.
Take me into battle. I am ready to serve again.
Orders received.
All right, let's go. Let's go kill some Eldar, some Xenos. And Eldar are actually one of the few races that the Imperium will occasionally side with, though they must always end up betraying each other.
Understood. The enemy is attacking.
Which is almost always the case with any factions in Warhammer. They always end up betraying each other.
Understood. Stay vigilant, brothers.
At least we know that the Orkz and Eldar are not in league together.
When one enemy attacks another, it does not mean they aren't in league. Just that they are living up to their lack of honor.
And those who lack honor deserve death.
Charge. Fear our wrath. Commencing attack.
I always like that effect for the Warlocks. Whenever they get knocked back, they do like a backflip and land on their feet. It's really cool. Let's get rid of this webway gate so they can't keep... So the webway gates, they connect one location to another through the webway. Just how the Eldar get around without having to deal with chaos or demons or the warp. The warp spiders that we've run across a couple of times actually do that in like short stints. And everything that you see, all the weapons, all the races, all the units, they all have their own little bit of lore. And again, it's a lot to get into. I'm obsessing over it now. It's like, oh, this is what I want to talk about, but now I don't know which one to talk about. Oh yeah, and I remember what I was going to say earlier. So I mentioned the service studs and how, depending on the chapter, the Space Marine chapter depends on like how long each service stud denotes. So like, you know, a decade or 20 years or a century.
Moving out.
The oldest, so I mentioned previously, the oldest living Space Marine that's been turned into a dreadnought sarcophagus is Bjorn the Fell-Handed. The oldest still full living Marine is Dante of the Blood Angels. He is, I think, over 1,500 years old. He's a pretty cool character in the sense that... Oh wow, there's a lot of works here. That even as a Space Marine, he's so old that that he gets tired and is in like constant pain, like an old person. He's old and tired and achy, which is, you know, pretty unique for a Space Marine. Space Marines usually, well, they are very resilient. It's not usually, they are mostly extremely resilient. And Dante's almost 1,500 years old. He's by far the oldest Space Marine in existence. You could argue that with Gilliman being back, he's the oldest, but he was also in a stasis field for 10,000 years.
Taking damage. Stay vigilant, brothers. Stay vigilant, brothers.
Because again, Space Marines, their lives are constant warfare, so for them to live 1,500 years is an extremely rare feat.
At your command,
Alright, can
infiltrating
capture these.
enemy territory.
Where's my other unit of scouts?
I am the instrument of his
Scouts
will.
awaiting orders. I sense danger. We will root it out.
Yes, most beneficent one. Yes, most beneficent one.
We are the Emperor's
An open
Fine,
mind
I'll
is
send
like a
Space Marines
fortress
over there to do
with
a
its
scout's
gates
job.
unbarred and
grows
unguarded.
from idleness.
Yeah, so
Position
scout
secure.
units are usually neophytes or newly new Space Marines. They're still in like the
Yes, Lord. As you wish.
initiation phase.
Yes, Lord.
So they wear lighter armor. They do like reconnaissance missions. Tactical Space Marines are full-fledged Astartes or Space Marines.
I shall obey.
Scouts ready. Scouts advance.
And different chapters handle it differently. So like the
Fear
Space
not
Wolves,
the
instead of
sight.
having like a scout squad, they have the Blood Claws, which are their neophytes.
Captain.
I shall never tire.
I am the instrument of his will.
Alright, what I'll do here is actually change one of these
I
guys
await
to
your
go get...
instructions. Build routine 721 initiated.
Alright,
Faith is eternal.
we'll push forward.
Weapons
The
at ready.
servitors will
It
build
is
their
time.
listening posts. We'll continue to purge the Xenos.
Moving out. Understood. Orders received, brother. Understood.
But if there's anything, like if I lose my train of thought on something and you're interested in hearing the rest of it, just let me know in the comment
Establishing a
section. I'll
secondary
finish
base
explaining
in this
it.
location will give us a forward position with which to engage the enemy.
I don't need a
Fear
full
our
position.
wrath.
I'm solid. I've got
Taking damage received.
10 dreadnoughts, what, 9 units of Space Marines, and 2 units of scouts. I think I'll be okay.
23.
Somebody died. Right? I wiped out my whole squad of
Moving out.
scouts. Whoopsies.
Maintain
That's fine.
attack formation.
I don't need them anyway. Still see the body down here sliding.
Moving out. Cleanse. Purge.
They keep teleporting in. So these are the warp spiders. They make small warp jumps. Can teleport around.
Moving out.
Also, every unit you see of the Eldar,
Moving
they
out.
follow a specific school. They're they follow a Phoenix Lord, a Phoenix Lord style of combat. I don't remember all the Phoenix Lords' names,
Fear
and I know there's
our
one that was considered lost
The enemy is attacking.
or something. I don't know. I'm not gonna say the Eldar lore is my strongest, but I can give you a pretty solid understanding of it. Once I got the one-way gates, they stop getting the reinforcements. Then we can worry about killing everybody.
Engaging the enemy.
Fine, we'll kill everybody then. Alright, let's get these one-way gates. Also, love the executions. Let's get in here and watch these dreadnoughts get to work. There we go. Watch this one. Picks him up, spins him around, throws him away. This is what it's all about, right here. Picks him up. That one back there picked him up and shot him with the flamethrower. Gotta love Dreadnoughts.
Fear our wrath.
Yeah, I don't think that the I don't think the Eldar have any really anti-vehicle units until the second game, right? Or until the first expansion. The Fire Dragons,
Stay vigilant.
which is another aspect that they follow.
Orders received. Fear our wrath.
Is there anything behind us?
Understood.
That's my objective. Oh.
There is no such thing
This
as innocence.
day shall be a glorious
treason.
one for the Imperium.
There we go.
Scouts awaiting orders.
Faith is eternal.
While the enemies of the Emperor still draw breath, there can be no peace.
Heresy grows from idleness. Orders received, brother.
Faith is eternal. Even in death I still serve.
Alright. Did we do it yet?
I stand ready. At once.
What would you have me do?
What are you doing all the way back here? Get over here.
I serve
What
mankind.
is it you desire?
Yes?
There we go. They're chilling out. Need you to...
So the good Inquisitor senses no chaos here. How fortunate for the Imperium that such keen-eyed eagles stand vigil over her gates.
What dark crafts have these Eldar invoked?
None. At least not here. The servants of chaos sacrificed this poor guardsman themselves.
To what end, Isidore?
I know not. I believe the altar is a marker, a waypoint in a map that leads elsewhere. Someone defaced many portions of text. Regardless of what chaos seeks here, the altar requires a sacrifice of blood, or more likely, a life.
Brother Isidore, you have an hour to study the altar. Document everything as is our tradition. Then burn it, lest its taint infect us all.
But Gabriel, there is much to learn from here. We should not be too eager to...
Learn what? Chaos does not teach. It misleads and it betrays. There is nothing to learn here, save for our next course. These transports have been damaged somehow. Make the repairs, and be quick.
That's a Rhino transport, which I didn't use.
Well, brother Isidore, what betrayal have you wrought? Disabling your own vehicles? Harboring artifacts despite your good captain's instructions?
Gabriel does not understand. He does not appreciate the significance of this.
Oh, but I do.
Quiet, heretic. Once I find what you seek, I will use it against you for the glory of the Emperor and my brothers.
You wish to deal me a harsh blow, to prove your strength and worth. Well, then come to me. I wait at Mount Korath.
Have no fear, sorcerer. I will be there.
Just, ugh. How do you fall for that? I know it's driving the plot forward, but come on, man. Alright, let's see what our new quote is. Never forget, never forgive. That's like the Dwarf's motto in Warhammer Fantasy. Alright, I'm gonna call it here. Next episode, we'll jump into Mission 6 and see what lies in wait. Now that we know that Chaos and the Eldar are involved, along with the Orkz, but the Orkz will just be manipulated into being a big green distraction. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next episode.